Hello and welcome to Marriage Moments with Life Coach Robin May. I am so excited because this year I will be taking you on a powerful series entitled Relationship Reset, helping you reboot or revitalize the romance in your marriage. Listen, if you take time to apply these strategies that I share with you each month to your marriage, I believe by the end of this series, you will see a significant improvement in your relationship. I am so excited. Let's get started right away. Here is your very first strategy. If you want to hit reset on your relationship, you need to remember who the real leader is in your marriage. You know, there's always this debate on what it means for the husband to be the head of the household, and that's extremely important. But more important is that people of faith need to remember that God ultimately is the leader of our marriage. That's easy for us to say, but how do we really live that out in our marriage? I want to give you some very practical tips. Number one, you and your spouse want to make sure that you make spiritual discipline a priority. Are you intimately engaged in a church home? Maybe the two of you can join a ministry together. Maybe you can set a time each week that you pray together, or even find a book that you can read together. Make spiritual discipline a priority in your marriage. Some of you are saying, listen, Robin, my spouse isn't going for any of that. Let me give you another tip. How about asking your spouse each week, honey, is there something that I can pray for you about? If you start doing that consistently, I believe that will make a huge impact on your marriage. So number one, you want to make sure that you remember who the real head of the household is in your marriage. Okay, so strategy number two, I want you to take a moment to reflect. People always ask me, Robin, what's the most important ingredient to a healthy relationship? And of course, I could give you a list of 100 things, but one of the most important things is the ability to self-reflect, to know what issues you bring to the table. I promise you, we all have stuff. If you don't know what your stuff is, then you have a tendency to put all of the issues on your spouse. Let me give you an example. I have a very different kind of humor, and at times I can be a tad bit sarcastic. Well, my husband has often told me, honey, sometimes I don't have time for that sarcasm. And so I have to take a moment to deal with my stuff to make sure it's not impacting our relationship. So if you want to hit reboot, if you want to hit reset on your marriage, you want to take time to self-reflect. Let me tell you how you can do that. This is very simple. Take a moment to pay attention to what your spouse tells you in the heat of the battle. You know, when we're having those heated fellowships or arguments, I want you to listen to what your spouse says. Does your spouse complain that you don't listen to him or her? Does your spouse say that you are hard to talk to? Pay attention to what your spouse says and then work on that particular issue. That's an easy way to take a moment to self-reflect. All right, so I've given you two strategies. Here is your third strategy that I want you to apply this month. I want you to take a moment to reveal to your spouse your inner thoughts and your inner concerns. Listen, marriage should be a safe place for you and your spouse to be vulnerable. If you can't be vulnerable with your husband, or if you can't be vulnerable with your wife, that's an indicator of a disconnect in your marriage. You want to take the time to intentionally share with your spouse those things you may not get to share in the hustle and bustle of your day. You know, you get up and you go to work, and your spouse gets up and goes to work, and then you guys come home and you deal with the children, and if you're not careful, your life is on such a fast pace that you haven't had time to just sit back and reveal your inner thoughts and concerns. Create an environment where the two of you can share with one another. Here's a strategy to making that happen. One of the things you can do is you and your spouse can pencil each other in on your calendar. Maybe you can get away for lunch together, or maybe the two of you can have a staycation right at the house while the kids are at school. Create the environment where the two of you can talk freely with one another. Listen, when your spouse is bold enough to share with you his or her inner thoughts, you want to make sure that you respond in an appropriate manner. If you act too shocked, if you act frustrated, if you act angry, then it's going to create a defense and your spouse may not feel comfortable sharing in the future. So make sure that when your spouse does reveal his or her inner thoughts and concerns, that you are open to hearing what they are saying. All right, guys, I've given you 3 strategies. I promise you, if you apply those 3 strategies this month and you keep applying the strategies that I share with you, you will see a change in your marriage. Again, this is Marriage Moments with life coach Robin May. If this information blessed you, share it with your family and friends. Make sure you join us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/IBelieveInMarriage, or check out our website at IBelieveInMarriage.com. I'll talk to you soon.